weight loss was so hard for me because I'm really lazy and I've never exercised in entire life, because when I was younger I was just eating a lot of chips and gaming on my Game Boy, and I was just thinking that do I really need to have to give up all the rice, noodles, and pasta in my life, because I really enjoyed this as an Asian kid. And if you are someone who are thinking that avoiding food groups, I was somewhat guilty of that, because I've listened to all the experts who were saying that don't eat any carbs and don't eat any fruits, don't eat any veggies, and it was very conflicting because I was really confused. And I really understand now that you shouldn't be able to listen to people who are making sure that you're not eating all the food groups, because you need to have a lot of energy when you are trying to, for example, lose weight. I should really go from not being able to work out ever to working out in the gym 7 days a week. And I've also want to share that I've been trying the keto diet, I've been trying the paleo diet, Slimming World, Weight Watchers. I was seeing some results, but eventually I just gained all the weight back. And I felt like it was really difficult for me because I had trouble being at my heaviest, going upstairs and having trouble breathing. I could not fit the clothes that I really wanted and hate how I looked in the mirror. And I felt embarrassed. And when I was looking at my thin friends, I was seeing that they could just eat whatever they want, and they were just not working out regularly, they were not doing anything intense. If you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel yet, make sure you hit the subscribe button and also turn on the bell to get notified whenever I'm making a new video about weight loss advice every single week. If you are someone who really wants to achieve sustainable weight loss as an ambitious professional working a full-time job, you need a totally different kind of approach when it comes to losing weight, because you are just wanting to work smarter and not harder. When I was trying to work harder, I was working out in the gym 7 days a week, and I was still so exhausted, overtrained, and it was not working for me. I really had to drop it because I was just feeling foggy all the time. So I eventually just learned that I needed to learn how to work smarter, and that is what I'm going to share with you guys in this video, so you can avoid all the mistakes that I've been doing, so you can finally lose the weight and have a lean, tall, muscular body, but also feeling confident talking with clients and doing presentations. So when I really wanted to lose the weight, I thought that I would just try it on my own, but I was not seeing any results after a couple of months just busting my ass off in the gym. But eventually I just hired a personal trainer, and he gave me a lot of information in regards how to exercise right. But the problem there was not so much about the nutrition. So I thought that I was just working out 5-7 times a week in the gym. And eventually I hired another personal trainer where he mentioned that if you are focusing on weight loss, there's like 20% of your, for example, your inputs, you are working out to lose weight. But then eventually he also introduced that 80% of the diet is very effective when it comes to weight loss. So I was so confused, I didn't know what to do. So eventually that I was not seeing any results from what I was doing with these two trainers, so I just switched to a third trainer, and he was the national champion in bodybuilding. So I was under his wings for like 6-7 years, and I was taught a lot about nutrition. And I was just feeling that, let's imagine that is a whole combination of three things. So the first thing is like 20% of your weight loss is like you're working out, and then 20% more is from things that you are doing on a daily basis. That could be, for example, you are walking a lot, you are, instead of taking the car, you are walking even more, instead of taking the elevator, you're walking even more, then you're just burning a lot of calories throughout the day. And if you're someone working with carrying a lot of things, that's also just burning a lot more calories. So there's like 40% of your daily activities coming from these two things, and the last 60% is just your diet that you have to have in check. Because let's imagine that you are just eating like fast food all day, you cannot run out a poor diet. So you want to really be sure that you're figuring out the maintenance calories, and you should track that with 500 in order to be in a calorie deficit. And then you also have a high protein diet of 45% of your daily calories come from protein, because if you are in a calorie deficit, you're automatically going to burn fat, but you want to burn as much fat as possible and keep the muscles, because muscles is going to help you keep the muscles and making sure you are looking very beautiful when you are removing all the fat around your muscles so it looks more defined and toned, and you're also burning 100 or 200 calories with ease. So that's just setting up for success without busting your ass off in the gym. So if you are just focusing on these couple of things, you should also be aware that you have to have a step app where you're counting the steps. So if you are someone thinking that the traditional way, you are spending 1 hour in the gym, but what about the next 10 hours you're away? What are you doing there? So if you're being active and doing things like walking a lot, you are burning a lot more calories. So that's why I always have a step app where you're counting your steps daily, and you make sure that you are always keeping it at 6,000 steps. Because the reason why you want to start out this is you want to gradually increase your step with 2,000 calories, 2,000 steps when you are hitting plateaus. When your body is on a certain plan with your diet and also your cardio, your steps, you are going to be accustomed to that. So in order to break through these weight loss plateau, you're going to change things up. That could either be 2,000 steps more, one cardio session, or 20 minutes on a stationary bike after your weight training, or you could just reduce your calories with 200 calories even more, and then you'll just see some more weight loss. So that's the first lazy habit that I was having that helped me lose the 60 pounds. When it comes to crafting your weight loss diet, you have to make sure you have downloaded something that's called MyFitnessPal, where there's a premium subscription where you can drag and drop the different kinds of recipes that you want. It's easily accessible to everyone, and you also have to change the language to English because it's going to give you a variety of categories like high protein diets. For example, it could be if you are someone vegan and you're not eating meat. So there's a ton of different kinds of recipes. So if you want to schedule a diet where you are having 45% of your daily calories coming from protein, 40% of your daily calories coming from carbs, and the rest is just fat, you want to start out with figuring out how many times a day do you want to eat. I'm a very lazy person, so I don't want to spend time making a whole lot of food. So I'm using what is called intermittent fasting, because the way I used to do intermittent fasting, I was doing one meal a day and I was just eating whatever I wanted. But problem with that is eventually I was just thinking about food all the time, and especially in the afternoon, I was just crashing because I was not having energy. I was just feeling so bloated from all the food and I just want to sleep. So doing the fasting of 16 hours fasting and 8 hours of eating window was definitely a game changer for me. Let's imagine that you start out with your fasting at 12 p.m. I know some people, they are waking up 7 a.m. Then you are waking up, you're drinking a liter of water because you want to hydrate yourself, and drinking water 5 liters water a day, or 4 or 5 liters of water a day. But you start out with 1 liter. That's going to help you regulate your hunger levels, and also drinking a black coffee, that's also regulating your hunger levels again. So I'm just working on my stuff for working out, like without eating anything. And sometimes you're a bit tired, but eventually it's something you have to gradually increase with how much you're working out. So you are having caffeine pills, 1 or 2 before you're working out to give you that boost of energy. That's also like commonly calling pre-workout. And then you go to the gym, you work out. You want to do that very easily in the beginning. Don't push yourself. Eventually you'll just learn how to do it. And then I'm just walking to the gym and walking back, and then I do more stuff on the computer, and like 11 or 12 p.m. I'm breaking my first my fast with a meal. Could consist of 200 grams of chicken breast cooked. It could be 100 grams of salmon. It could be 2 eggs and a couple slices of whole wheat pasta or toast with some butter or with some ketchup on the pasta. That's very simple. And then you could have cookie on top of that. I always say that if you are someone who wants to have a sustainable weight loss plan, you need to have 90% of your daily calories coming from whole foods, because that's going to give you the enough nutrition to not only having fast digestible and slow digestible carbs to have fast energies but also slow digestible carbs is going to keep your blood sugar very stable throughout the day, and having high protein is also giving you a lot of feeling satiated, because protein is the most satiating macronutrients that's going to not make you feel hungry. And drinking the water is also reducing the hunger levels, and the sweetness of just eating a cookie or maybe a protein bar is also reducing their cravings. And then I wait like 6 hours before I'm having my next meal. That could be like the dinner with the family or with a friend, and then you're just eating. You're of course dividing your daily calories. If you have 2,000 calories to be in a 500 calorie deficit, your maintenance calories are 2,500. Your calorie deficit is 2,000. Then you're just dividing. The two largest meals are meal 1, 12 p.m. and meal 6 is meal 2 is 6 p.m. and the last meal right before you go to bed is like 9 p.m. So you already gotten, and it could be 700 calories from the first meal, 700 calories for the next meal, and the last meal is 600 calories. So the next meal you are getting maybe some ribeye steak. If you are really liking that, you're getting some sweet potatoes, some wok mix, you're getting a slice of a couple of bread, some eggs, and the last meal could be some Greek yogurt with some berries on top. The reason why I'm using intermittent fasting is because if you are eating more, if you're eating less and you are having foods, there's a bit more calorie in. It makes you feel that you are getting a lot of your cravings reduced because you're just eating foods that are more fatty. And if you are someone who eating 5 meals a day, you are not having a lot of calories you can eat in every single of these meals. So making that sure that you are trying to having a meal plan that is fitting for you, eating foods that you love. And the MyFitnessPal had a lot of options in regards to what kind of meals that you can eat. I also love to know what is your biggest takeaway from the video so far. Just comment below and let me know. I used to doing cardio all the time before I was working out, because I was just thinking that was like normal. When you are going to the gym, you are always seeing a lot of people just doing the cardio machines. But eventually what I learned is that cardio is just a supplementary tool to lose weight faster and accelerate your fat loss. So I was just figuring out, if I was starting with the diet, having that in check, figuring out that I having a calorie deficit of 2,000 calories, 45% of my daily calories come from protein, 40% of daily calories coming from carbs, and the rest is fat. And I was working out in the gym with starting with 4 or 5 times a week with strength training, and doing the walking of 6,000 steps a day. I was losing a lot of weight and it was very minimal. Imagine that you're doing an hour cardio before you even going out. It's very taxing for not only your nervous system, but you don't have so much energy focusing on the main workout with weight training, with, for example, 3 compound movements for every single muscle group, and then you're going to isolations movement are very beneficial for you, because you are using the most energy that you have in the beginning of your workout with the most demanding exercise, where you're targeting different kinds of muscle groups. If you're someone who wants to grow your legs and you are wanting to grow your glutes, your quads, you are, for example, using leg presses where you're putting on weights, or you're using hack squat, that's going to be very intense. So you want to work out and also having a good mind muscle connection, where you're not just putting a lot of weight on top of the machine, but you're actually feeling the muscle being work. You have to think about there's a mental connection between the mind of use to the specific muscle groups that you are working out. Because if you're someone who's just putting a lot of weight on the machines, you are barely just trying to figuring out what kind of muscle groups that you are targeting. So if you are having less weight on, you can actually have a better connection with the muscle that you are working out. And if you are someone who, let me give you an example, that you want to build your triceps to be even further, so your bicep. So here's how it looks. This is a bicep that is like fully developed. So if you are using like a dumbbell, then you are going to having full range of motion. So when you are doing like this, you are stretching the whole muscle, and then you are extending it like this, and then you also extending it. So by breaking down the muscle tissues through correct form and also progressive overload, where you're constantly trying after 10 12 reps, you are increasing the reps, you're increasing the weight with maybe 2.5 kilos, just trying to always increase it. Because if you're doing it this specific way, I tell you that you're going to tear the muscle tissues apart, and you also want to do it like 1 to 2 kilos, 1 to 2 reps before failure, because there's like intensity enough. And then through diet and also rest, you are going to rebuild the muscle tissues. You're getting stronger, you're getting more muscle, you are burning fat even more. So eventually you just hit a plateau with the workout schedule I just mentioned, and then you want to introduce, for example, some cardio sessions on a stationary bike with 120 150 heart rate. So that's basically just how these lazy habits going to help you, because it helped me lose 60 pounds and kept it off for 13 years now. So if you're an ambitious professional working a full-time job and you want to lose the weight for good and become the most healthiest version of yourself, just like with the transformation pictures that you saw in the video, there's a link in the description, also in the comment section, where you can book a call with me and we can see if you are fit to work with me, and we'll build a game plan together.